I'm going to continue the series of the famous Rabbonim of yesteryear and happen to be on the 18th of Av, the Hilula of a really great Jerusalem-born rabbi, Harav Shem Gagin, Zeche Tzadik Libracha. He was actually born in English year 1884, to be precise, on the 5th of September and passed away in 1953 on July the 30th. He was one of the great rabbis and very well traveled rabbis, especially from the United Kingdom. Let's explore some of the details of this great rabbi's life, who actually happened to become a Dayan, also a judge, a Rosh Yeshiva, author of great Torah books also, and was appointed parts of the Bet Din in various different places, including in Egypt, among the Sephardi community in Manchester and London, and head of the Jewish court in London. So he was born in Jerusalem and came from very great rabbinic heritage. His mother's name was Rabbanit Rivka, and his father's name was Rabbi Yitzchak Raphael Yechezkiyahu Gagin. They actually came from the great Gagin family, which is spoken about on many occasions before. His grandfather's name was Rabbi Shalom Moshe Chai Gagin, who happened to be the Rosh Yeshiva of the famous Yeshivat Bet El, the Yeshiva of the great Kabbalists in Israel, in of itself. And he actually learned in the Bet Sefer, the Talmud Torah institution of Doresh Tzion in Jerusalem. This was a place where many great Sephardi Rabbonim came about all throughout the years over there, and he learned under the great rabbinic auspices of Rabbi Yaakov Alfia, who was a really great rabbi at that point in time. At the age of 23 years old, he would receive his rabbinic ordination from Rabbi Chaim Berlin, a great Ashkenazi rabbi, and shortly afterwards he would get married to his wife, Rabbanit Rosa Baltzna. And he would actually take on, I believe, a position as a Dayan in the area of Kahir in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, as they call it over there. That was a very prestigious position. And I think shortly afterwards, it was actually a great rabbi, Rabbi Chaim Nachum Effendi, actually offered him a position as a Chacham Bashi of Baghdad in Iraq at the time, which I don't believe he took on. He refused that position, but that was just shows a great stature of the level he was on. He was offered top chief rabbi roles in various different countries. And I believe at the time period of 1920, he was appointed as a rabbi of the congregation, the Sephardi congregation, in Whittingham. I think this is based in Manchester, in England, respectively, in the United Kingdom, and took on various different roles over there in that congregation in of itself, especially education roles on top of everything else. And he was also part of the Bet Din, working for the Bet Din, not just for the Sephardi community there, but also for the Ashkenazi community also in Manchester. So he was really well spread out in of itself. I believe this was around the period of the mid-1920s. And then I believe he would also be appointed the head of the Jewish court, the Av Bet Din, of the Sephardi congregation in London. And this is a job I believe he took on for about 25 to 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. He was very much responsible with regards to spiritual, the Torah, the religious level of the various different congregations in that specific vicinity. I think also in the year 1926, he started a position as manager of the Kollel and the Yeshiva called the Ohel Moshe V'Yehudit. This was in an area in England called Ramsgate, I believe. This place in of itself, I think, was established in memory of Yehudit Montefiore. This was in the year 1869, so it was a really prominent position. It was through the Moses Montefiore, who I believe actually established this great institution in of itself. And he was working in this role, I think, even till the year 1951, shortly before he had passed away. I think also he took on other various different roles. Also in the year 1933, he was appointed as a deputy with regards to various rabbinic positions in England. And he was also, I believe, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Etz Chaim Yeshiva in London. I think it's based in northwest London, if I'm not mistaken. And in the year 1939, he was actually offered, I believe, a position, or he was in contestant to become the chief rabbi of Tel Aviv. I don't think he took on that role at the time, but I think he was one of the favorites to take that position on, if I'm not mistaken. Also, he passed away on the 30th of July in English year 1953. We're talking about more than approximately 70 years ago on Yud Chet Av, to be precise, Hey Tavshin Yud Gimel. He left very great descendants also, including Rabbi Dr. Morris Gagin. He's another great rabbi we've spoken about before. He himself passed away in the year 1990. and he had various different roles, I believe, in Manchester, in England also, and had different roles with regards to schools over there and various other different important institutions with regards to Manchester Jewish community also, and I think he also had a position also in Portugal, if I'm not mistaken, also. So great, Rabbi Shem Tov actually wrote great different Torah works also, including the Keter Shem Tov, which was actually put into 7 different volumes, 7 sections also, which has the reasonings behind the different customs, the different customs of, especially with regards to the pronunciations and nusach of the tefillot of the Sephardi Mizrahi community, and with regards to various different variations of Sephardi communities, where the difference was, and within regards to differences with the Ashkenazi community. Then another great book was Chaye HaYudim Kochin, if I'm not mistaken, which was another great book in of itself. And I think it was actually dealing with the lost tribes, the 10 lost tribes, also he will speak about. Then there was a Sefer Pirkei Shira. I think Perek Aleph was within regards to various different tefillot. Perek Bet was on Shir Kavod Vesimcha, within regards to honor and Simcha, joy, happiness, and Shirei Evel V'Kinot Lamatzavot. This was in the 3rd Perek over there of itself, lamentations and so on, and people mourning, I believe. And Perek Daled was in Nivim Tzachim B'Chochma U'Musar. Also, another great Torah work was the Chidushim Al HaTalmud, which was different explanations with regards to Talmud Bavli, with regards to the Shas in of itself. Then the Yodit, which was, I think that was, as they say in Hebrew, the Kovetz Dan Shnati, which had various different things. I think it was actually printed in London also. Then there was Sefer Bekeshet Lamdin, which was, I think, to Rab Abraham, also Rab Yitzchak Habdarshi. It was a Perush, I think, and Biur Hamilot, if I'm not mistaken. This was actually, I think, printed maybe parts of the Pirkei Shira, if I'm not mistaken. Another great book was the Pachad Yitzchak, also. Various different drushim within regards to Lefi Ruach Hazman Al Seder Parshiot Torah, within regards to the different Torah portions in the 5 books of Moses also. I think it came out as a manuscript initially in 2 different volumes. Also, I think the Machon Ahavat Shalom actually printed it in Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken, in the year Tafshin Pei Aleph. He wrote various different other manuscripts and documents and various other things, including the Ha'arot Va'arot Lemadrash Rabbah V'Tanchuma. Another one was a Shut L'Shoalim B'London. B'Kriyat Chotzot. Shut obviously means the She'elot and Teshuvot, questions and answers. The Biur Al Chamisha Chumshei Torah, explanation on the 5 books of Moses. The Talmid Shoel V'Arav Meshiv, with regards to the student asks and the rabbi answers. Then there was a Biur Leferush Harik Anti. And then there was a Girsa Din Kuta, which was various different Chidushim teachings on the various different Mesachets. Also, there was a Shirim LeMilah, which was, I think, Pidyon Bar Mitzvah, with regards to Pidyon Aben, various different mitzvot of the life cycle of a person, the Bar Mitzvah, the Chuppah, and Kinot, with regards to Lamentations, and Tfilot, and various other things. Also, the Rishmei Masa B'Sfard B'Tzarfat. Also, that was another great work. Now, I'm looking at the moment, presently, at a diagram with regards to the family, how he descends from the famous Rabbi Shalom Mizrahi Sherabi. Also, he actually descends from, I think he is, if I'm not mistaken, about 8th or 9th generation, 7th or 8th, 9th generation of the great Rabbi. Rabbi Shalom Mizrahi Sherabi happened to be one of the famous Kabbalists, actually moved from Teman, from Yemen, to the land of Israel. He would become one of the first Rosh Yeshivot of the famous Yeshivat Bet El, and the author of the great Torah colossal work of V'Sidur Harashash, on the Kavanat of the Tefillah. Also, most notably, also, his grandfather, as we said before, was Rabbi Shalom Moshe Chaim Mizrahi. His great-grandfather was Rabbi Chaim Avram Gagin, also, who was a very, very great rabbi. His grandfather was Rabbi Shalom Moshe Chai Gagin, and his great-grandfather was Rabbi Chaim Avram Gagin. And he himself happened to also be the Rosh Yeshiva of the famous Yeshivat Bet El, and a Rishon LeZion. See, he was a great-grandson of one of the famous Rishon LeZions of Israel. So I thought this was a good historical lesson with regards to this. I usually record videos on the date of the Hilula. His Hilula here was approximately just over 3 weeks ago. Now, he passed away in Manchester in the year 1953, but he would be buried, if I'm not, I'm not too sure where he was actually buried in of itself, but 1953, he passed away in Manchester, so that's also very important to be aware of. And please don't forget, when it comes to his Hilula, come what the 18th of Ab, light candles in his memory. And please, friends, learn more about the great rabbi himself. We covered already in this series about 375 great Rabbonim of yesteryear, and we hopefully will cover a lot more great rabbis, because we are a community over here. We're learning about the great Rabbonim of yesteryear and how important it actually is to learn more about the great rabbi. So wishing you all a good day, wishing you all blessings from Israel, and take care.